sucked. I kind of liked it.
No, don't. Oh, God. Nobody asked for that.
That movie sucked.
I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.
1, 2, 3. Pinching his nose, Harry drank the potion down in 2 large gulps. It tasted like overcooked cabbage. Immediately, his insides started writhing as though he'd just swallowed live snakes. Doubled up, he wondered whether he was going to be sick. Then a burning sensation spread rapidly from his stomach to the very ends of his fingers and toes. Next, bringing him gasping to all fours, came a horrible melting feeling, as the skin all over his body bubbled like hot wax, and, before his eyes, his hands began to grow. The fingers thickened, the nails broadened, and the knuckles were bulging like bolts. His shoulders stretched painfully, and a prickling on his forehead told him that hair was creeping down towards his eyebrows. His robes ripped as his chest expanded like a barrel, bursting its hoops. His feet were agony in shoes 4 sizes too small. As suddenly as it had started, everything stopped. Harry lay face down on the cold stone floor, listening to Myrtle gurgling morosely in the end toilet. With difficulty, he kicked off his shoes and stood up. So this was what it felt like, being Goyle. What's up, potheads? Welcome to the restricted section, in which a bunch of nerds with potty mouths reread the Harry Potter series for the umpteenth time and discuss how the story and its themes have stayed with a generation into adulthood. Thank you for listening. If you haven't done the reading, don't worry, we did it for you. Here's what we are talking about today. Chapter 12, The Polyjuice Potion. It's a Christmas chapter, y'all. We start the chapter where the last chapter left off, with Harry in Dumbledore's office. First, he sees the sorting hat, and he's like, let me see if this motherfucker was honest when he tried to put me in Slytherin. And so he puts it on, and the sorting hat's like, well, yeah, I mean, like, you still would have done good in Slytherin. And Harry is not okay with this because he's wondering if he's the heir of Slytherin. So he puts the hat away, and then he notices Fawkes, the phoenix. I don't think he knows what a phoenix is, though, because he's very startled when sickly Fawkes bursts into flames and dies. And he's like, how am I in the wrong place at the wrong time again? And then Dumbledore comes out into his office and is like, don't even worry about it. Fawkes is a phoenix. He's going to save you later in this book. And then really all that happens in Dumbledore's office is Dumbledore is like, Harry, is there anything you need to tell me? And Harry's like, nah. So then it's Christmas, and Hermione wakes them up by throwing presents at them and telling them that the Polyjuice potion is ready and they should probably do the plan tonight, Christmas night. So they go to Christmas dinner, and afterwards they initiate their plan. They knock out Crabbe and Goyle, put them in a broom cupboard, and take some of their hairs for the Polyjuice potion. Hermione already has some hair off of Millicent Bulstrode from when they wrestled in the last chapter during the dueling club. They go into the bathroom and they drink their potions. And it's agonizing. I just read a part of it to you. If you'll remember when they originally were looking at the recipe in the Most Potent Potions book, there were a lot of really grotesque looking illustrations. And it seems like Harry really actually experienced exactly what those illustrations were depicting. So Ron and Harry turn into Crabbe and Goyle, but Hermione won't come out of the bathroom stall. And she's like, go on without me. Everything's fine. Don't even worry about me. So Ron and Harry, as Crabbe and Goyle, they go find the Slytherin common room. When they're in the dungeons, they see Percy sneaking about. What's he doing? We don't know. They meet up with Malfoy, and in the Slytherin common room, they are like, don't you know who the heir of Slytherin is? Malfoy's like, no. We learned that the Malfoy Manor got raided, and Malfoy lets it slip that the Ministry of Magic didn't find anything because everything's hidden in the secret chamber under the drawing room floor. Before they're able to get any additional information, Ron and Harry start transforming back into their true selves. So they run back to the bathroom, Cinderella style, and when they get there, they learn that Hermione has accidentally transformed herself into a cat. Welcome to the restricted section. I'm your cat, Christina. No, it always sounds better in my head. Meow. I should have just started with a meow. Anyway, this is the restricted section. We're talking today about the Polyjuice potion. Meow. Haley, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Wait, sorry.
Meow. Thank you for giving me the proper greeting.
You're very welcome.
Oh, so just great. That's all we got?
Yeah, that's all you got.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And Andrew, how you doing?
I was doing a lot better before I was expected to meow.
Well, too bad.
Give us your best shot.
Do it!
Meow. Oh,
That was solid.
that was a sad cat. And our very special guest today is Cortney Berry, friend of the podcast. Cortney, so glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your Harry Potter history? How did you get started? What's the adventure been like for you?
So, my grandmother was a maid for a very Dursley-ish family back when the Harry Potter books came out. So, Dudley, in this case, who I don't even remember the boy's name, but he hated books, so I would get all the scrapbooks. So that's how I got my first Harry Potter book. And then every year after that, my mom would go and wait in line for me until I was old enough to do it myself. And I'd wake up and I'd have my Harry Potter on the bed beside me. But when I was older, obviously, I did all the, you wait in line and
The midnight releases.
all that jazz. Yeah, you walk around Borders until they let you take your damn book home.
Oh, Borders, R.I.P.
Yeah.
So what Hogwarts house are you?
I am a proud Slytherin.
Oh, yeah? How?
Yeah.
Wait, how so?
Well, how am I proud?
No. You're allowed to just be proud. But,
No, justify yourself.
what traits about yourself make you feel like a Slytherin?
I am definitely an ambitious person. I have a little bit of a, I won't say a dark streak because that sounds kind of edgelordy, but I have an abrasive streak, I think. But yeah, I'm self-interested, but I'm also very loyal to those who fall into my friend category. I'm making myself sound like an asshole. I'm not a blood purist. Not a blood purist. That's the most important trait. But basically, I would be not in Malfoy's gang, but I would be standing on the outskirts.
Yeah,
the mudblood stuff, I'd be like, that's too far, guys. But Harry being afraid of Dementors is kind of funny. I don't know.
That's fair.
I've been sorted into Ravenclaw a couple times, but I feel like
Why is there such
being
a cut?
honest with myself.
No, there's a lot of middle ground between Ravenclaws and Slytherins. There's a lot of trade-off there.
Here's the thing is, I've seen Ravenclaw Hufflepuff cusps. I get that kind of a character, and I've seen a lot of Ravenclaw Slytherin cusps. Name one Ravenclaw Gryffindor cusp.
Hi, my name's Andrew.
Okay, all right. Besides Andrew.
Also, Hermione Granger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's, did I do all the things? Courtney, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Bold Rock, and I'm smoking on a lovely sativa hybrid called Tropicana Cookies. My mother got me these pewter goblets last week
That's very
at an
authentic.
auction, $1.25, and I got a whole set of them.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
Having grown
I made sure they didn't have lead in them because a lot
I
of
was
old
about to
beer does.
say.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to get lead poisoning, most likely.
All right.
having grown up Catholic, that looks very eerily similar to a chalice that the priest would have.
His blood.
See, the only part of Catholicism or even Christianity that ever appealed to me was the ritual. I like.
Oh, you mean the stuff they stole from the pagans?
Yeah,
the magic.
basically. But you go in and they got the burning candles and they got the goblets, and it's a very, it's a.
Yeah,
I
the
like
stuff they stole from the
aura,
pagans.
But
Yeah.
My favorite part
Not all
of
of it.
Christianity is the candles and the drinks.
Yeah, candles, chalices, blood rituals, all those little things.
Man, if you called taking communion a blood ritual, the Christians would get very mad, but it's deep blood ritual.
It is.
They
fully a
literally
blood
talk
ritual.
about bathing in the blood. And I'm saying this, I have family who are Baptist, practicing Baptists. I grew up in that church, but I considered my baptism super traumatic. And after that, I was like, no, never again. It was like an anxiety trigger at a young age. I just got dunked underwater by a creepy old man.
Oh yeah, because in baptism it's like the full. It's the
they dunk. And it's not like a dunk and they bring you right out. They dunk and they say some words and then they bring you right out.
To get the devil out of you.
So you get the fighting instinct, but I guess that's the Holy Spirit.
Nightmare.
Nightmare.
Y'all know how to make holy water, right?
Uh-huh.
Enlighten us.
Punchline.
You boil the hell out of it.
No. Veto the air horns. Speaking of Christianity, our very own Brooke and Mike are getting married in 4 days. From when this episode will come out. So
I was about to say. Like I was saying, what? But inside I was like, what?
So, if you care to, shoot Brooke a congratulatory message on Instagram or Twitter. She'd love that.
Yay.
All right, well, let's get on to some deeply unchristian themes of stealing someone's identity via witchcraft. Cool. So, as a reminder, the last chapter ended with Harry fucking Potter stumbling across Justin Finch-Fletchley, whom he had spent the whole chapter with people being like, Harry's probably going to kill that kid. So then he finds him prostrate on the ground and is like, I can't leave him. So he gets caught. I would consider that to be caught red-handed.
I would leave. I would leave the scene and I'd be like, oh my God, what happened? That's crazy.
Yo, I'm a Hufflepuff and I'd leave too. Like, this is not good for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
We're Americans, that's why.
But the Hufflepuffs right now are the bad guys, so all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then Professor McGonagall comes and is like, frankly, you look incredibly red-handed right now. So I'm going to take you to Dumbledore's office, and then that's where we are. That's where this chapter, the dueling section. Wow. First of all, that was last week, and second of all,
holy shit, dude.
I am tired. It's hard for you when the one episode comes out, and then we record the next episode the same day.
It's hard for you every week, then?
It's hard for me every single week to run this podcast. So that's where we start the Polyjuice potion, which is this chapter. That's what I said at the head of the chapter, right? I said the right chapter. I'll crop it out.
Yes, you did.
We started with Harry and McGonagall entering Dumbledore's office. They go up the spiral staircase and then they enter. And McGonagall's like, I'm going to fucking be right back. And because I guess, is Dumbledore sleeping? Or I guess he doesn't always have to be in his office.
He's roaming the halls.
Like he does, like a
He's
ghost.
cranking one out in his room.
No! I hate that!
I mean, what else? Name another possibility.
Okay, well, I like
Dumbledore.
He was gone for about 5 minutes.
How much do you think these teachers who all live in this fucking building together with a bunch of teenagers, how often do you think they walk in on each other jerking off? Because truly...
I thought you were going to say how often do they fuck? And I was they probably all fuck each other.
All right, wait, real quick. Which teachers fuck each other? McGonagall doesn't fuck
everyone.
Yeah,
everyone.
I can get behind that.
Sprout
they said he's a dueling master, or he was a dueling master. So I feel like he's got a...
Yeah. He's got a je ne sais quoi. I mean, I'd fuck him in the same way that I'd fuck Peter Dinklage, you know what I mean?
For the experience.
Yeah, like, you're smart and you make me laugh and I think this would be fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's the question. I don't think that Sprout would fuck Hagrid. I think she likes a prettier boy.
Sprout and Hooch
I think Sprout is a lesbian, but...
Sprout and
Hooch, that's what I'm saying.
I love it.
Hooch is definitely a lesbian. Sprout is a lesbian.
When I asked recently on Twitter what was Madame Hooch doing while that bludger was beating the shit out of Harry in an incredibly targeted way, someone, RIP, don't remember who you are, but this is a great answer, said she was making out under the bleachers with Professor Sprout. So, okay.
There was definitely at least one other that was saying, like, smoking under the bleachers with Sprout, and, like, Sprout has the best weed, so...
Oh, of course.
It would have to be Sinestra, right? Like, the astronomy professor, that's going to be That's going to be someone who likes to fucking blaze and just stare at stars. So
Sinestra also definitely a lesbian. Every female teacher at Hogwarts is 100% a lesbian.
Is this what you know, or is this what you really want to be true, Haley?
Yes.
McGonagall's like...
No, I agree with a lot of these. I mean, I feel like it would be easier to pick out the straight teachers at Hogwarts. Just kind of leave the remainder.
They're all some flavor of queer.
Hagrid's straight. Hagrid needs himself a Rosie fucking Cotton. You know what I mean?
Everyone else, I mean,
Is that her last
name?
Some
fluidity there.
Yes.
Thank you. Snape for sure gay. I'm pretty solidified in my opinion of this now Snape? That it was James the whole time and not Lily. Like that, I really believe that.
Man, Danny really converted you, huh?
Yes, it's just so much more exciting.
There may be some bisexual homoeroticness to their rivalry, but I think he at least goes in both directions.
Either like he's in love with James or he's like equally in love with James and Lily, and he's just like, I'm not going to show
when
Harry
boys,
Potter.
Start to wrestle and then they start to fight. It's like the opposite of that. They fight and then it devolves into them making out.
I love it.
Christina, I've really got to push back though. Like his Patronus is a fucking doe. It's not a deer. Like he was all for Lily.
I want to be really clear about the statement you just made that a doe is a deer, a female deer, okay?
Ray a drop of golden fucking sun, whatever. Like, it
Let's be clear.
Wasn't prongs that he was emitting from his wand in a silvery blast.
People can stifle their homosexuality so deeply, truly.
Also,
you
stags,
want them to be
Andrew, stags do lose their antlers for part of the year.
They lose their antlers.
They lose the velvet.
They lose fully like their antlers. Like their antlers will go flying off at a certain point in the
They
year.
do, but you don't call them does when that happens.
No, but they're completely indistinguishable.
Hey Siri, do deers lose their antlers sometimes?
Yes, they do.
Hey, I found this on the web for do deers lose their antlers sometimes. Check it out.
She always talks to me like I'm stupid. She's like, sometimes.
She's like, look it up yourself, bitch.
Google is free.
I was trying to get my bitch to do it for me. No. I'm joking. I don't permit Sean to talk down to our digital assistants, and I certainly will not do it myself.
Are you afraid of the robot uprising?
No, it's just, there's something psychological with the fact that they're all women and you can talk to them like shit and they'll still do what you say, okay? I have a thesis about this. Yes, Haley?
And also Christina is afraid of the robot uprising.
I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
I welcome it.
Okay, well, I'm terrified. I didn't mean to blow that off.
We need some some rationality, some impartialness injected
into. Oh my god,
into
I've read way too much science. Did you see I, Robot?
I don't... Okay.
Wow, this is a tangent even larger than we usually go on.
We are still on the first page.
Oh, sorry.
We're on the first line. Okay. So Harry puts on the Sorting Hat because he's like, this motherfucker needs to tell me I belong in Gryffindor. But it tells him the exact same thing. Well, first of all, it's like sleeping. It's like, be in your bonnet, Potter. I love that line.
I mean, like, the thing with the Sorting Hat in this scene is that, like, I know it was Godric Gryffindor's hat, but the hat's kind of a fucking Slytherin.
Interesting.
It's like fucking with him here. Like, I stand by what I said before, fully knowing all of your insecurities in this moment. I know I'm going to set you up to be hopeful about this. You would have done well in Slytherin. Like, I'm going to tell you what you need for your character development.
He would have done well in Slytherin. Harry Potter is the most opportunistic person in the entire building, other than maybe Dumbledore.
He's also just a fucking idiot.
I love Harry Potter, but he's that guy, you know? Where you're like, what's your deal? What's so perfect about you?
I think Harry belongs in Gryffindor because, as we talked about in last week's episode, Gryffindor is the house of the himbos. And I truly think that Harry embodies that, just like a real gung-ho, but like not a lot of sense. Not a lot of sense in his bonnet.
Yeah.
I think the only reason he got pushed into Gryffindor is because, like, he wanted to be there and that I don't want to be a bad guy. Like, that is what got him to be.
He was brave enough to ask to be in Gryffindor, per one fan theory.
It's a thought. It's not like... I mean, I feel like that's giving him too much credit.
No, I agree.
Maybe I'm being a...
All that I have to say is if Harry had been put into Slytherin, like, Harry is already not comfortable with his own emotions. Can you imagine the emotionally stunted, red-pilled asshole he would have become in Slytherin?
No, it would.
He would not have saved the world. Like, there's no way he would have ever been willing to sacrifice himself for anything at all.
But could he have pulled a Snape and, like, infiltrated from the inside?
If Harry had been sorted into Slytherin, him and Draco could have just been
They would
together.
have made out.
They would have ran away and would not have been there for the Battle of Hogwarts.
Imagine
And
having
Voldemort-
this much tension with someone and sharing a room with them, you know?
Ooh.
Just like, I'm gonna fuck you.
They would have run away together to the south of France before ever graduating.
Oh!
Their
All right.
adventures in Nice.
Okay. So the hat's like, yeah, you would have been great in Slytherin. I stand by what I said. And Harry's like, fuck you, and takes the hat off immediately and puts it back and is like, grumble, grumble, grumble. And then he turns around and there's an ugly bird there. And he's like, wow, you look bad. And then it dies.
This is, can I just read this line really quick?
Yes, please
because this
do.
is honestly, this made me laugh out loud at the age of 28. Like, Harry was just thinking that all he needed was for Dumbledore's pet bird to die while he was alone in the office with it when the bird burst into flames.
The drama.
Like, haven't you, like, I think everyone has had that moment of, like, where you're just thinking, like, wow, it sure would be awful if this stupid thing happened, and then immediately afterwards, with, like, cosmic comedic timing, the thing happens.
Yeah.
Well, and Haley, I think that this proves that phoenixes are, by their very nature, the pure embodiment of what it is to be magical, because there is nothing more dramatic than just randomly bursting into flames and starting anew. That is a rage quit followed by a restart from the beginning like none other.
You are in no way wrong.
Haley, do you remember, just help me, I'm having like a half memory. We've produced so many episodes so far. I'm so overloaded with Harry Potter rhetoric. I just remember Mary Peyton saying, like, blah, 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 I will set myself on fire. Like, we were talking about the Howler.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about the Howler and about how, like, it in the movie, it, like, tears itself up. But, like, in the books, it sets itself on fire because that's how mad it is. It's like, I will set myself on fire. Okay, sorry. I just had to, like, process through that memory. It's dramatic as fuck for sure. And then Harry's like, oh no, how am I in the wrong place at the wrong time again?
Okay.
I was reading this to Sean today, and he was basically in a complete dead sleep while I was reading to him, because that's what happens when I read to him. And he, like, came out of his nap to be like, is this the one where he's always in the wrong place at the wrong time? And I was like, yes.
Yes, it is Harry Potter.
This book specifically, though, he's just so...
Yeah, this is twice in one day.
Yeah, one day. Okay, so Dumbledore comes in looking somber, which in the UK edition is Sombre.
Ooh, sombre.
Yeah, sombre. I didn't know that one. And then Harry's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Your bird just died, dude. He looked really shitty. He's probably better now. Dumbledore's like, LOL, let me tell you what a phoenix is. And then we learn what a phoenix is, including some crucial information that we're going to use at the end of this book.
Well, and here's where we learn that it's called a burning day, but how much better would it have been if it would have been called a flaming day?
Aw.
Like, every few years, that bird just has a flaming day, and
We
then
all need to get out
it has to, like, start over again. It just...
I mean, that's something that Fawkes and Dumbledore would have in common in that case.
Yes.
Because every day for Dumbledore is a flaming day.
I was going to say...
Hey...
The annoying thing is that when J.K. Rowling was like, Dumbledore's gay, it's like, wow, that is not nearly... I'm so sorry.
Wait, who was like that?
She who must not be named. When she came out and was like, Dumbledore's gay, it was like, wow, I hate you for saying that because you, like, didn't have the courage to put that into your book.
Yeah.
But, like, at the same time, it's like, she's definitely not wrong.
It's a dramatic ass pet.
I always read him
pet.
as gay. Oh.
What'd you say, Andrew?
I always read Dumbledore as gay. Like, from, like, at least the fourth book on. In my mind, I always just imagined him as a delightful older gay man who had awesome adventures. I don't know.
Like a magical Anderson Cooper with more colorful outfits.
Exactly. I was like the only one looking around going like, wait, everyone else is surprised. Why?
We should have cast Anderson Cooper instead of Jude fucking Law.
Anderson Cooper is cold, though. He's cold and, like, objective. Like, I don't think he would be a good Dumbledore.
I think if someone told Anderson Cooper, you are a good Dumbledore, he would feel it in his heart, and he would.
I feel like Anderson Cooper has like whimsy in his soul, but like he doesn't use it at work. Like he's whimsical on his own time.
If you doubt that Anderson Cooper could have played Dumbledore, just watch the clip of when he announced the birth of his son on air. And you will see like all the love and magic in the universe in his eyes when he says that. The Silver Fox is just amazing.
Inserts clip here.
It's been a difficult time in all of our lives, and there are certainly many hard days ahead. It is, I think, especially important in these times of trouble to try to hold on to moments of joy and moments of happiness. Even as we mourn the loss of loved ones, we're also blessed with new life and new love. So I just wanted to take a moment and share with you some joyful news of my own. On Monday, I became a father. I've never actually said that before out loud, and it still kind of astonishes me. I am a dad. I have a son, and I want you to meet him.
Okay, great. So we learned that phoenixes can carry immense weight, they have healing tears, and they're very loyal. Wonder if any of that information will come back later.
No.
Probably not.
Okay, so then Harry's like, oh yeah, I'm here because I'm in trouble. And then Hagrid bursts in with a chicken still.
Really quickly, because I don't want to brush over this. Is it not weird to anyone else that phoenixes are immortal, seem to have a very high level of intelligence, and yet are referred to as a great pet? I don't know. It just seems like I don't think you could domesticate a phoenix. I think that is more of a partnership where the phoenix
they're familiars. They're not. It's
familiars.
Not a pet.
Yeah,
definitely. It's same thing with Hedwig. Hedwig can't really be contained in that way, and we see that later in this chapter. So definitely familiar is the right term, but I think that's just a little too advanced for this age group.
That's like also just a thing with birds. Like some species of like some parrots have like the intelligence of a 5-year-old.
Oh,
like
I hate knowing that.
Yeah, no, it's not a great thing to know, but like, like a lot of birds are bonkers intelligent. So I feel like Fawkes, it's sort of like that. Like there's a reason that Fawkes doesn't live in a cage. Like Fawkes is free to come and go as he wishes, but like he knows where the reliable source of food is. And also like Dumbledore just matches his vibe. Like Fawkes, Dumbledore is as much for Fawkes' aesthetic as Fawkes is for Dumbledore's aesthetic, you know?
Oh,
so,
interesting.
My parents have a friend who's a little old lady who owns a parrot. And when she first got it, she got it from a friend who had a bunch of social gatherings. And we always had, like at least once or twice a week would have guests over and have not like crazy ragers, but would have, like dinner parties and things like that. And apparently when she first got the bird, my parents' friend discovered that its favorite thing to do was to basically spout old gossip.
Aww.
So this bird would just randomly bring up, say things like, why is she here? Why is she wearing that? And like just really pithy little comments.
I'm stealing that. I'm stealing that for one of my novels, dude.
Did you guys ever see that commercial years and years ago? It was for a job searching website or something, but it's just a parrot alone in a house with a door in the background, and it's just sitting there can't take this, not another day. And then the dude who owns it comes home I can't take this, not another day, not another day.
Oh my god, that's horrifying.
I'm gonna do it this time.
It's one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen in my life.
Okay. Focus.
One thing. Yeah. On birds, specifically this dead rooster that Hagrid's carrying around. Couldn't Dumbledore just take his word for it that there was another dead rooster? Why did he have to bring the physical dead bird to his office to lay across his desk?
Exhibit A!
That is a great
I know the bird is dead. Sure.
I just think Hagrid forgot to put it down.
Maybe in his hurry to get up to the office. One thing about birds is they're disgusting. Chickens and waterfowl, they carry a lot of lice and other external parasites. Mm. And the second they die, they start to shed off of them in a disgusting way. I work at a vet. That's how I know this. And it was at a beach, and people would bring in these half-dead pelicans, and we would have to euthanize them, and they shed parasites to the point where you have to euthanize them in a trash bag, basically.
Oh,
the parasites.
my God.
So Hagrid is crawling in lice, basically, is what I'm saying at this moment. And he's putting lice all over Dumbledore's beautiful office.
I feel like I haven't been this shocked in like a really long time. Like it makes
birds are nasty,
sense, but that is like a lot to hear in my
no, like
I don't think it's really like a pet bird thing, but like wild birds, waterfowl, chickens.
No, I'm fully prepared to believe it because, like, not to go off on a tangent, but last year, like, I live in an apartment, like, I'm on the top floor, and I had starlings in like a nest in my
starlings
and like my oven vent, and I could hear them through my oven vent, and like. It wasn't a problem until the baby birds started growing up and they all had mites. So I started noticing like all these weird, like little brown bugs all over like my spices. Cause my spice cabinet is like it's like above my oven. And like I had to call my landlord and it was a whole thing. Like they couldn't take the nest out because the birds were alive and they didn't want to kill the birds and then have a dead bird in my vent. So I just had to like live with having mites for a while.
I told you animal control won't fuck with birds, dude. I had like such a duck plague at this pool I lifeguarded at once. Animal control was like, oh yeah, ducks, can't do it, sorry.
They've got dicks like corkscrews. I'm not going anywhere near that.
All right, I'm calling it. We're moving it. Directly away from the corkscrew dicks. Okay, Hagrid bursts in, chicken in hand, lice everywhere. And he's like, I'm Harry's alibi. I saw him. And honestly, in his defense, well, no, not in his defense, but in the last chapter, I was like, that's so stupid. Why do we just run into Hagrid in the hallway? That's like the stupidest thing I've ever read. Okay, but this is why. So that Hagrid can be like, I'm his defense.
This is like the first time, this is the first time I think that I'm noticing reading this scene that like, oh, Hagrid is traumatized. Cause like, the thing that he was expelled for is happening again, and Harry is now being accused of it the way he was accused of it, even though he had nothing to do with it. So like, this is him seeing history fucking repeating itself and being like, fuck no, not my boy.
Well, so what do you think? I mean, who's in this castle right now who knows that this is why Hagrid got expelled?
Dumbledore and probably no one else.
Moaning Myrtle.
McGonagall might know. Moaning Myrtle, I feel like she doesn't give a shit and she didn't remember that. You know what I mean? McGonagall probably knows. And okay, so like, okay, all right. So my question was like, are people turning to him? But Dumbledore was confident of his innocence and he may or may not be the only person who knows.
Well, there's also the chance that Hagrid, I think at this point, Dumbledore's probably put together a bit of the clues and knows kind of what's going on. But Hagrid definitely hasn't. And there's a very good chance that Hagrid's afraid Dumbledore's going to be like, sorry, dude, I got to go kill Aragog. Like, this is the closest thing I have to a lead. So I'm going to go. I know that he's in the Forbidden Forest and you know where he is. I'm going to need you to show me where your buddy is so I can kill the shit out of him.
Well, I mean, it depends. It depends on whether Hagrid knows that Tom Riddle grew up to be Voldemort. Like, I don't know how, because like to people in the Order of the Phoenix, like that's not general knowledge in the Wizarding world, but to people in the Order of the Phoenix, they might at least know.
I feel like Hagrid knows because he's one of Dumbledore's most trusted confidants.
Yeah, so like it seems like that would be something that like he would like. There's no reason not to tell him, like, hey, you were probably expelled wrongly. Like that doesn't help you, but like I hope you know that I know.
Yeah, it helps to forge your relationship with him.
But yeah, just that I've just never noticed that before.
Well, and Dumbledore didn't expel Hagrid. Dippet did. So
right.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's focus. There is so much yet to come in this chapter. Okay, so then Dumbledore's like, Hagrid, I know that Harry's innocent. Just like leave, please. That's not why he's here. And Hagrid's like, cool. And then he leaves. And so Dumbledore is like, Harry, do you have anything you'd like to tell me? And Harry says, no. So 2 questions. 1, why does Dumbledore ask that? And 2, why does Harry lie? Let's start with my first question. Why does Dumbledore ask him this?
Because Dumbledore knows what's going on in his fucking castle. Like,
is it because he can read minds, or is it because he pays attention?
He pays attention. We know Dumbledore walks the floors of the castle because in the first
we just said he was probably off wandering.
Yeah, so he like I have every confidence that Dumbledore seems like the type of guy to me who would still go to Moaning Myrtle and try to be like hey, Myrtle, hope your day's going well. And then she like breaks down in wails and goes into the U-bend. But I still think he would be the type to do that. And he'd be like, a deserted bathroom. Harry's best friend is the brightest student in this entire castle. And they are obviously making Polyjuice potion. And Harry's the type of inquisitive little ass that's going to think, I'm going to take justice into my own hands and figure out who's doing this. So I think he's basically trying to give Harry an out to say, like, yeah, you know, we got a plan going, and you're probably asking why there's a cauldron full of steaming ingredients in the second floor girl's bathroom.
Yeah, honestly, there's no reason Dumbledore wouldn't have gone to Moaning Myrtle by now to at least be like, same thing that happened last time. Any updates? Have you seen anything?
I'm on the fence about whether Dumbledore knows about the Polyjuice potion or not. I think that this is a leading question so he can get, like, any thoughts that Harry has about what's going on to the forefront of his mind so he can legilimate the fuck out of him. Because Dumbledore knows that Tom Riddle became Voldemort. He knows that Tom Riddle was involved with the last time the Chamber of Secrets is opened. He's probably, at this point, put together that Tom Riddle was somehow fucking responsible or involved with that whole debacle. So now that it's happening again, even though Voldemort is supposedly gone, Voldemort almost came back last year at this very school. So whatever is going on probably has something to do with Voldemort, which means it probably has something to do with Harry. So now that Harry is, like, constantly in the wrong place at the wrong time, it stands to reason that he would be like, hey, is anything going on that I should fucking know about?
What do you think, Courtney?
I mean, Dumbledore has, like, the world's best security system because he has, like, every portrait in this enormous castle, like, at his bidding. So he knows all the shit that's going on. It's
that
just like
a great point that I had not thought of before.
It's just to feel him out. Like, he just wants to see kind of like how much he's willing to keep from him, I think.
Do you think it was a test that Harry fails?
No, I think it was a confirmation. Like, he knows that, like, that's just like the stoicness of Harry's personality, and like he's just trying to figure out like kind of how much does he know at that point.
Wait, and Courtney, you bring up a good point, too. He has to know exactly what's going on, because I doubt that there wouldn't be at least one portrait that would be like, yo, giant snake.
Yeah.
Just giant snake going through the halls.
Hey, Harry Potter is like going into this weird bathroom with his friends every day for hours at a time. Like, that would raise some questions.
It's either an orgy or something illegal.
That's what's really going on, is he's trying to poke and prod and be like, so Harry, are you and Ron and Hermione... I don't know.
Are you using protection?
Do you remember?
You might be starting to feel a strange tingling.
Do you remember in the movies when fucking Dumbledore is like, you and Hermione Granger, what's up with that? And Harry's like, we're just friends. And Dumbledore's like, cool. What? Do you remember that?
Follow up, you and Draco Malfoy.
Which movie?
It's gotta be like between 4 and 6. Like that's obvious.
Well, like 6 is the one where everyone starts hooking up.
Somewhere it must be 6, because that's when the whole movie is just deeply sexually awkward the whole time, because Bonnie Wright and fucking Dan Radcliffe have goddamn zero chemistry. I would have chemistry with both of you. Anyway.
I love him. He was a great Harry Potter overall, but he took, like, I feel like all the humor out of Harry. Like,
okay,
not all of it, but most of it.
I agree with you until movie 6 when he's a clicking thing. Why is that so funny?
Yeah, I don't know if that's like a Daniel Radcliffe's acting thing or a directing thing.
I think it's a writing and directing thing, for sure.
Because Dan Radcliffe is amazing in other stuff. Have you seen Swiss Army Man?
Yes, I have.
I know, I made you watch. We watched it together.
I highly recommend every part of it until the last 5 minutes.
It's so uncomfortable. Okay. Anyway, so then why does Harry say no when Dumbledore says, do you need to tell me anything?
Because like every fucking teenage boy, he's like, I got it covered, dude. Like, it's fine. You don't need to know for right now. Like, I think he just, I don't know. I think it's like arrogance that he's been accused of by other characters in the castle, mixed with like the stoicness of his personality.
Yeah, keep in mind that like at this point in his life, Harry has never met an adult that he could fully rely on. even Dumbledore is like the best of them, but even then it's like, well, I'm still going to try to handle this myself because I don't know how you're going to react if I tell you I can fucking talk to snakes. So I'm just going to not risk that.
That's true. They don't have the relationship now that they come to have later.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you also got to remember at this point in the story, Harry's year has started off with him flying a car and wrecking into a tree. Then he gets accused of all these heinous crimes, and he knows he's breaking, I think Hermione said, about 50 school rules to brew this Polyjuice potion. And if he gets kicked out, he goes back to the Dursleys. I think if I was in that situation, I would just be like, okay, lying is the least of the crimes that I'm committing. Let's just keep on lying.
Just keep digging this hole.
Yep.
Yeah. I think the scene ends with Harry being like, nah. And then it's like, it's a section break. And then it goes into like one of our sweeping descriptions about like everyone was super scared. Things are getting scary at Hogwarts. Where am I? Where's my
Malfoy's being a dick.
Malfoy's being a dick. Fred and George are totally trolling Harry by being like, make way for the heir of Slytherin or he'll murder you with his snake language.
Can I just ask, why do we think Malfoy is staying for Christmas? He never does this.
He's in love. No, I think Malfoy genuinely has FOMO, and if a mudblood got while he was home, he would feel like he had lost out on something.
Okay.
Or it adds to, like, the implication that he is the person who opened the chambers. He's like,
he wants to be
I gotta stay. Yeah. I got more mudbloods to kill.
It's part of his facade.
He is trying to allude to that, right? I mean, that's pretty clear, I think.
I mean, he says in this chapter that, like, oh god, I wish I knew who it was so I could help them.
He says it to Crabbe and Goyle, though. I think he's trying to, like, intimate to the rest of the school, like...
Yeah, he's like, I know exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, I'm in on it.
I think it's actually a lot more simple than that. I think his parents wanted him to stay home because they knew they were going to get raided. They knew that the ministry was going to come and raid their house. And they're like, just stay at fucking Hogwarts. Don't, you're young. You might say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing.
That's a great
just
point.
Chill there. We know this is coming. We're going to lock everything away. And that's why when Lucius sent him the thing about Arthur and the Weasleys getting in trouble, it was like not unexpected. He knew he wasn't like, oh my God, can you believe they raided me? He was like, we knew it was coming. We put all the shit in the secret room in our house. And
honestly, here's what happened: is Lucius sent Draco Malfoy a letter that was like, "Don't come home. We're getting raided. Your stupid mouth. Just stay at school." And then Malfoy is like, grumpy. Yeah, like I am not stupid. I'm not going to say the wrong thing. And then he's like sulking, and he's like, "Wait a second, but this will help bolster my reputation as the heir of Slytherin if I stay here to make sure more people get murdered." Also, maybe I'll meet Harry in a bathroom and we can make out a little bit.
I'm going to go disappoint Daddy by hooking up with Potter.
Oh my God.
He wants to have a snowed in, romantic Christmas. Like Beauty and the Beast.
And like almost honestly, this time of, if I went to Hogwarts, I probably wouldn't go home either because you get away with anything over Christmas at
Hogwarts would be the best. You have like the most extravagant
in
decorations.
The dungeon. He's probably fucking. He's a 6th year. He's probably fucking.
Percy doesn't fuck. He has sex.
Yeah,
I think
Percy has intercourse. Fucking. No, he has intercourse. He does not fuck. There's nothing about that action in Percy Weasley that equals fucking. It is very clinical sexual intercourse.
Okay. It's not, to clarify, it's not making love either. It's
no. Oh God, no.
Just intercourse.
It is biological function.
Hole in the sheet.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like Mike Pence.
Super stoked on it. Just it's not fucking.
All right. Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay. Wait. Let's get there. We're gonna catch Percy later. But for now, what's happening? Ginny continues to not be amused with the way things are going at Hogwarts because, as we all know, she's having some serious psychological issues right now. She's like gaslighting herself. It's pretty tragic to see all these like small descriptions throughout, and like we know what's going on with her.
Every character that's at Hogwarts over the winter break needs to listen to some fucking John Mayer because all of them just need to goddamn say what they need to say. All of them need to just like let it out and just get it out there. Like Ginny needs to be like, I'm getting possessed by a book. Percy needs to be like, I'm having intercourse with this girl. And Harry needs to be like, I'm hearing this shit in the walls. Like, this needs to happen. They all just need to open their fucking mouths and go to therapy.
So funny, because if like they were all together and they were like confessing things, it would be like, Percy, sit down. Your confession is so stupid. We have real shit going on. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
Does anyone else get like serious Hank Hill vibes from Percy Weasley at this book?
Like the British equivalent?
Yeah, the British Hank Hill, just like, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go and I'm going to have sexual intercourse with my girl. But it's against the rules, so we're going to do it in the dungeon. Whoa!
You're pretty good at that impression, but I'm not familiar enough with the character to confirm or deny this. Okay, so here's the next thing. The Weasley kids, quote, I said quote. I don't remember what the exact word was, but like they choose, allegedly, not to go on vacation to Egypt. All of them. The whole family, including Ginny? Is that real?
Looks like.
If I were Ginny, I would go, first of all, straight home to my mom at the earliest opportunity.
I think what's really going on here is that the Weasley matriarch and patriarch basically told the kids, we just got fined 50 galleons. We can't do a vacation right now. We'll do it later when we can, but we can't do it because I really don't see a world where every single Weasley is like, I'd rather stay. No, I think that it's a situation where they had planned to do that, and then a 50 galleon fine later, they're destitute again, and so they can't afford to do it and have to put it off. But you don't
agree.
Yeah, you don't tell everyone like, oh no, my family's too poor to do that trip now.
Well,
you tell them we're gonna wait, or we don't really feel like going.
And I think that's a fault of like Harry and Harry's privilege and his perspective is that he's like, yeah, they just didn't want to go. And so it's like whether or not the kids knew that like they couldn't afford to go, or if they, I don't know. That was like my one question.
Don't they like also, doesn't the whole family go to Egypt literally the next summer?
When they get money.
When they get 1,000 galleons or whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay. So the next day is Christmas. Hermione wakes them up. As a reminder, girls are allowed to come into the boys' dormitories, but boys aren't allowed into the girls' dormitories. Do we want to unpack that, or do we not even have enough time?
I feel like the implication is there.
Yeah, the implication is there, but I did hear something really cool the other day, and it might have been one of y'all that brought this up, but there is such an opportunity for someone to make a very pro-trans story of a trans woman wizard who decides, like, I want to go up to the girls' dormitory and takes the first few steps and nothing happens on the stairs.
Oh my god. And then Hermione's like, there's no bed for you, but you can bunk with me.
But you can stay with us, damn it.
Oh my god, okay, I love everything.
We could have had it all if you weren't a turd.
Zoom always clips when people sing, but rest assured that Haley's J.K. Rowling as a turf serenade was absolutely beautiful. J.K. Rowling's turf. Okay, and then Hermione's like throwing presents at their faces and being like, the potion's ready, wake up, Merry fucking Christmas, bitches. They're like, let's do it tonight, tonight's the night. It's ready, I don't know, I guess that's a surprise to them because they weren't talking about it yesterday already. It's ready today, suddenly. It looks good. They're doing the Christmas thing. Hedwig flies in, and Harry's like, oh, I guess you're not mad at me anymore. And, like, has Hedwig been mad at Harry for 4 solid months?
Sounds like.
Petty.
She's a petty bitch. Okay, my cat Penny has the exact personality of Hedwig.
Oh, God, you're so right.
Yeah.
Just, like, proud and beautiful and silly a little bit.
Yeah.
So Hedwig came because she brought him a Christmas present from the Dursleys, which was a toothpick and a note being like, can you stay at school for summer break too? Because we fucking hate you.
The effort that it took to think of that gift and to send it to Hogwarts was, I have to award that point.
Does anyone else think that there's a scene where Hedwig just flies into the Dursleys and starts pecking them until they give her something she can bring back to Harry?
That is canon
too
later
thick.
in the books.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We know it happens later on. So do you think it happens now? Like,
Yes. I think Hedwig is doing it for longer than Harry realizes. We start to realize stuff about Harry's life like 2 or 3 years late at the same time Harry starts to realize it. He's an idiot.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with being a teenager is that, like, you don't start to realize until you're, like, late in your teens that, like, the way you grew up, like, certain aspects of it may not have been fucking normal.
Yes. Yeah. Okay,
Like,
so
no, everybody doesn't sleep in the broom cupboard for the first 11 years of their life? Huh.
okay, well, Crab and Goyle gonna sleep in the broom cupboard. Let's get there. Okay, and then there's the gift parade. You know, the Christmas gift parade, and then there's this. What?
Can I ask, what is treacle? Because it
Haley
seems
knows.
like
Haley knows.
that's a
the
Haley
favorite
question.
word of her.
So treacle is like caramel on steroids. They use like Lyle's golden syrup, which is like I guess like a sugar. It's like a very, very light molasses, and it's very like thick and sweet, and like it like sticks to your
Like
teeth.
brittle? Like peanut brittle?
A little bit, but
like swamp
Yeah.
level.
Yeah, like a treacle tart is literally like a pie crust and then just like some treacle with like brown sugar and like fixins, and it's like a caramel pie.
Okay, next what happens is Harry opens a gift and it's a sweater from Mrs. Weasley, and then he's like, all the things Mrs. Weasley has done for me. She told me not to break the rules anymore, and I'm about to break the rules tonight. Oh well, I suck.
Guys, Ron smells like rat pee. Like, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Scabbers sleeps in his bed.
Yeah.
And male rats, like, dribble pee, like, everywhere they walk. So, that bedding definitely... A teenage boy is not washing the rat pee bedding.
It's probably a good thing that he lost Scabbers when he did.
Those house elves have to work overtime.
He doesn't want to be a man of puberty age with a smelling like rat pee. He's already got some cards against him. Some checks against him. Rat pee.
Speaking of rat pee, they go to Christmas dinner. There's no relation. It was a juxtaposition joke. And then they eat Christmas dinner. Yum, yum, yum. It's truly the briefest, like, Christmas scene, I think, of any of the Harry Potter books, like, ever, except until we get to the Polyjuice potion part. It really feels like the Christmas part of this is so brief. As they're leaving, Hermione's like, it's time. Go get your fucking hairs. We need to do the potion. And she has her chocolate cakes. Okay, I have a question. Does y'all's American books call them cakes?
Mm-hmm.
Are they whole cakes, dude?
I mean, I think they're cupcakes.
No, they're like little,
little personal
size
cakes.
We've all seen the movie, but if the American edition of this book says cake.
I think it's like a lava cake, like that type of style.
Oh.
Cake style.
And then instead of like chocolate syrup on the inside, it's the sleeping
It's
draught.
sleeping push, yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. So, and then Hermione's like, I already have my own hair from Millicent Bulstrode from that time she put me in a headlock in the last chapter. Wow, famous last words. And then they leave the cakes on the banister, and Crabbe and Goyle have been completely gorging themselves on a Christmas feast with absolutely no supervision.
As is their right.
It's their right, but like, how the fuck do you come out of that and see like random abandoned cakes and be like, I'm gonna shove that in my mouth in one bite?
Have you met my husband?
You met me.
Have you met any 12-year-old boy?
You can't. This can't be real. Like, after like one piece of cake, I'm like, oh my god, I can't eat any more cake.
And we're not all you, Christina, so don't judge us for thinking like,
why do I have
cake,
such a weight problem then? That's not fair at all.
No, like, I feel
they've been in the banquet hall like for 6 hours because they're just letting themselves get hungry over and over again. They just
I feel that way now if I have too much cake, but like at 12 I had no limit. So like if I'd been eating cake all day and then I saw like free stair cake, I'm eating the stair cake.
Okay, that's a good
And they're monster sized. Like they're already gonna eat monster portions.
I think their monster size is what made me confused about how old they were because these are all good points. Okay. So they stuff the whole cakes into their large mouths. That's a quote.
How?
honestly, like, the way that bitch describes this, like, whole scene, she really does hate fat people.
Very much so.
It's kind of crazy. I've certainly never noticed that before.
I never heard that take before.
They're like,
they're evil, or they're like bad usually.
They're shitty people, and they're like gluttonous to the extreme. Whereas like I just alluded to, like, I live an incredibly healthy lifestyle, and I have a hard time losing weight. Like, it's not. You don't have to be like a gluttonous, disgusting, shitty person to be like a fat person.
Dude, I've been a vegetarian for like 11 years.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. I tell you.
There are a couple of characters who could be like classified as overweight who aren't evil, but they're usually referred to as plump. Yeah, it's Molly. It's Molly and the witch who pushes the trolley on the train.
Oh yeah, but they're both food givers, dude.
Motherly. Yeah.
Yeah, Christina, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that it's not that she hates fat people. I think J.K. Rowling is truly and honestly disgusted. Excuse me. I think that bitch, or she who must not be named, is truly disgusted by fat people.
Yeah.
Because I think that she's one of those people who just sees it as a self-control issue, because you also look at the way that she describes like fat people, and like you said, it's always just like eating with ravenous hunger at all times. But the weird thing is that she describes Ron as being the same way, but not being fat and not being
because
disgusting.
he's a main character. I want us to all practice. You know how, like, when you're reading these books and people react so negatively and viscerally to Voldemort's name, and it's a little hard for us because we don't have an equivalent in our own society. Like, we can say Hitler's name. I think we all need to really try to get into that mindset whenever someone says J.K. Rowling. We need to, like, condition ourselves to be like, oh, God, why'd you say that? Don't say her name. Come on.
You already have Trump.
I have like a...
See? Did y'all hear your reactions? There we go.
I have a plugin on my Google Chrome on my computer that changes his name to Drumpf, which is like funny. It reminds me that he's a joke, but...
it was funny when he got elected, but now I'm like, he's burning, Rome is burning, and he's... You know the expression?
He'd be
like,
playing the violin, but he can't.
That's
the greatest violin. It's the best violin. You've never heard anyone play the violin quite like that.
It's solid gold. I got it from the devil. Yeah. So Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you think your world's on fire,
Harry fucking Potter, that man's got problems.
If you think your world's on fire, Harry Potter is knocking out Crabbe and Goyle and stealing their hair so he can turn into them for spy purposes.
That's just Tuesday night.
So Crabbe and Goyle eat the cakes and they pass out because they were full of fucking sleeping draft. And then Harry and Ron, they're like, this part is surprisingly easy. Like, they just eat it and pass out. They stash Crabbe and Goyle in the cupboard and they yank out their hairs and they steal their shoes. And they run to the bathroom where Hermione is working on the potion.
This isn't said in the book, but knowing Ron and loving Ron the way that I do, I guarantee you that by placing them in the broom cupboard, what really is said there is like kicking forcefully to make them fit. And then like as Harry turns around, taking one more pot shot at the passed out form, slamming the door on their face like, man, got him in there.
Everything he's ever wanted to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so they go to the bathroom and Hermione's making the potion and it's smoky and it is stinky and they're like, what's going on? And Hermione's like, I got this. We're all ready. The potion's ready. I love the way this chapter describes, alludes to Hermione's anxiety. She's like breathless. Her face is shiny. Like the way she's like in type A, like heaven right now. She's at like 110% operating power. And she's like, I've done it. I've done the thing. Like my plan is going great. Everything's great so far. Okay, everyone get where the fuck you need to be because this is perfect. This plan is perfect. And like, we're fucking doing this.
No, I have to say, like, Hermione's characterization with this whole, like, let's fucking do it, like, everything with the potion is completely in character for a 12-year-old girl. Because, like, there is nothing that 12-year-old girls love so much as, like, plots. Like, present a 12-year-old girl with any kind of a plot, especially if it's to fuck over someone she hates, like, you will get this level of dedication.
Yeah.
Haley, I think I should tell you all about what 12-year-old girls really feel like. I think that's my place to go ahead and enlighten everyone.
Oh, please do.
So Hermione stole some robes. She's like, let's do this. She serves up the Polyjuice potion into What tumblers is what they're called, which I'm like, that's a very adult drinking vessel.
Yeah, where'd she get tumblers?
The kitchens, no, I don't know. They learn about that later, but like maybe, I think
They don't know where the kitchens are yet.
I think
They have the
Hermione,
festive cutlery out.
maybe she took them from the dining hall, but I also think Hermione always knows more than Ron and Harry at any given time.
I have a theory. The teacher's lounge has a drinks cupboard, and she took it from there.
Oh, okay.
Does anyone else get the impression Flitwick could make a mean cocktail?
Yes.
I don't know why, but it just seems like he would be the type who would be like, what are we all drinking tonight?
It's his drinking cabinet.
Okay, wait. I mentioned earlier like a thing between Flitwick and Peter Dinklage because they're both short and I would fuck them both. But like it's like developing like I drink and I know things.
Oh shit.
Right?
Yeah.
The similarity they're growing.
No, that would have been amazing casting if that had been like temporarily possible.
I just think that like if Peter Dinklage had like as soon as the events of Game of Thrones were ever just been like chucked over to Hogwarts and like grown into this sage-old teacher that's like a great dueling master. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
His name's Tyrion. I kept calling him Peter Dinklage. The Dink. Okay, so the potion's gross, and they all put their hairs in, and it looks gross. It's, quote, frothing, unquote.
It doesn't like a nice frothing beverage.
like a wop.
What would your potion taste like?
But it, like, I feel like they all taste bad. Like, am I allowed for mine to taste good?
I think they all just taste like the essence of the person.
Well, in book 7, when they drink the Polyjuice potion that has Harry's bits in it, it's supposed to taste pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting. Sure. I think mine would taste like apples. I eat at least one apple every day, and I'm sweet and practical and straightforward.
I would be salty, because I'm salty.
Yeah. You'd be like a coconut chip, like soft and then salty, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
I honestly have no clue what I would taste like.
You taste like caramel.
I'll take it.
Maybe I'm just dreaming of caramel ever since we got to the in-depth conversation about the treacle tart. Courtney, what would your Polyjuice potion taste like?
I think it would be mostly like weed and like a grape Laffy Taffy.
Ooh, an
Combination of those.
Okay.
An infused grape Laffy Taffy, like slushy, smoothie, slurry. I think slurry is right. And they drink it.
They drink it up.
They're in different stalls. We're deep in Harry's point of view now. We don't know what's going on in the other stalls, which I would argue is excellent writing. Nausea, then burning, then melting, and then he's on the floor, and he's like, what's happening to me? But then it's over, just as soon as it began. And now, he's Goyle. Wait, right? Yeah, Goyle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do love the little thing in there about it felt like Harry had swallowed several live snakes. It's a great little bit of writing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're full of snakes right now, Harry. Praise Slytherin.
Exactly. It's a great little metaphor or simile.
So he puts on his shoes and his robes. He literally flexed and busted out of his last robes. So he puts on the new robes. They're Slytherin robes, even though I don't think in the book they ever talk about the robes being different by house. But that's the thing in the movie.
They never fully describe the robes.
They're like, his robes.
Yeah.
So he puts on the big
dress robes, but not like they're every day.
Can't wait for that. And so now he looks like Goyle. He takes his glasses off. Ron's like, oh, crazy, and comes out and he's like Crab, and they're like looking at each other, and they're like looking in the mirror, and they're touching each other, and being like, oh, crazy.
They describe him as having, Crab as having a pudding bowl haircut.
Oh,
yep. Which I take to mean a bowl cut.
Yeah, I guess
like a deep bowl cut, though.
No. I had that wrong. A pudding basin haircut is the direct.
A basin?
Pudding basin.
Who eats pudding by the basin?
Don't judge me in my choices.
Take it up with she who must not be named, because.
What the fuck? A basin? That's like a wash.
Yeah, let me try to. Or just
just a pudding tub, just a whole pool of pudding.
I'm really feeling judged right now, and if you could stop that, Haley. But let's
Absolutely
be honest.
not.
It is on.
It absolutely says pudding basin.
Yeah, except that he looked pale and shocked. Ron was indistinguishable from Crabbe, from the pudding basin haircut to the long gorilla arms.
I have that in my UK edition too. That's very
British English is cancelled.
Cancelled with one L.
Well, let's be honest. If it's going to fit over Crabbe's head, it probably needs to be a basin and not a bowl. Like, that's a big-headed boy. Like, I don't think you could fit. A bowl cut would be more like a reverse tonsure for him, because it would just be like the very top part of the head.
A reverse what?
Tonsure. Like monks. Like monks, how they would shave like this part of their head.
Isn't it called a pate?
It's both.
Oh. Find the definitions of these words.
Or is a pate just the...
A paint is just
part?
like... Yeah, a paint is like a word for, I guess, your scalp. So, like, it can be called...
So shaved paint. Yeah. Okay.
Is that from... Wait, am I making this up? Is that like... Wait, never mind. I'm about to dive down etymology lane and we don't need to go there. Okay, so then they're like, whoa, we look great. The spell, it worked. The potion's great. Hermione, let's go. And Hermione's like, meow, I can't come.
Can't come out right now.
They don't push her very hard on this. They're just like, that's fine.
They're on a time
understand
limit.
it's a hairy situation.
It seems short-sighted to only make an hour's worth of Polyjuice potion.
I wonder if, like, you can only take an hour's worth, like the way that in...
No, because to jump forward, the fake Mad-Eye Moody is kept fake Mad-Eye Moodied by a steady supply of...
He keeps the flask on his person, though.
Yeah, but, like, you can just, like, keep adding, and it just adds hours.
Oh, I see what you're saying, though. They don't have a flask.
It's probably a limitation of quantity, so they probably could only nick enough, like...
That's what I got from it.
Maybe, like, what they stole from Snape could only make, like, so much potion.
Right.
Maybe.
Okay.
That's what I'm guessing.
All right, we figured it out. So Hermione's like, yeah, come! And probably they're like, oh, shit, oh, okay, all right, we're gonna go. Like, you're sounding you're having a problem. So the clock starts now. Who, is that from, that's from Zumba's Just Desserts. Do you guys watch that show?
Only with you.
They're like, how do we find the Slytherin common room? Which I just feel like they probably could have done some research on this before this moment.
Like any kind of recon.
Like 1% recon.
Their knowledge begins and ends with the Slytherins come up to breakfast from over there.
What the fuck? They're so genuinely stupid, dude.
Which, why didn't Hermione figure this, that they would need this? Like, this is a very obvious part. She thought of getting bigger robes, but not of that they needed to know where the fuck they were going.
She probably did the recon on her own because she doesn't trust these fucking idiots. And then, like, in the panic of turning into a goddamn, like, furry, she forgot to tell them, like, by the way, like, to get to the Slytherin common room, you have to go down these stairs and take a left and take a right and then take another left. And then, like, I don't know what their password is, but that's where it'll be.
That tracks. But I mean, just really, Harry has an invisibility cloak and he could follow anyone for any amount of time without them knowing.
Just find this one wall and then scream racial slurs at it until it opens.
Okay, not a good look. Not a good look to have the password be pureblood. But,
yeah.
You know.
Can you imagine?
It's like your password being white power. Like, what the fuck,
It's hard to
dude?
defend.
Imagine, like, going to an underground club and they're like, password, and it's like pure blood. It's like, I'm not going to that club.
I'm out. I will be leaving.
And we know that Harry would have done very well in Slytherin, which means that half-bloods can get into that house.
Who sets the password, also?
Well, what I'm saying, though, is they're just by, like, odds of numbers, wouldn't there have to have at least been one Muggle-born that, unfortunately, there is very, like, you know, resilient and cunning and self-reliant that would have been sorted in Slytherin has to walk up every day and be like, pure blood.
I just want to say that there's like a shit ton of Jews who went to church for generations to avoid like the fucking Spanish Inquisition, etc. And like people be pretending to be things they're not to survive for a long time. Yeah. I just read a book about the Spanish Inquisition.
if it's just like the portrait or the suit of armor that like sets the password, maybe it's just, like
It's the prefect.
a racist painting.
It's the 7th year prefects, because Percy sets the Gryffindor passwords when he's
Yeah, and there's going to be some...
head boy.
Okay, not all Slytherins, but all the Slytherins that Draco hangs out with are like a white supremacist asshole group, so it just, bad apple spoils the bunch kind of situation.
I resent that statement when I just said that my Polyjuice potion would taste like apples. Okay.
Yeah.
Good apples, not bad apples.
Good apple. So,
which, really quick, it also says that that before they run into Percy, that they ask a Ravenclaw that's got wavy hair. Does Penelope Clearwater have wavy hair?
That is super Penelope Clearwater.
That is. That's what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure.
And like the dedication. Okay, so what happens next? They go into the dungeons, and Percy stumbles out of a quote side room unquote, and Ron / Crab is like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And Percy's like, "What are you doing here?" For sure, no teenager is that calculated enough to like be like, "Okay, you go like 5 minutes ahead of me," or was that just like a super sexually motivated teenager?
No, I think that's literally just what Percy is like. Like, no one can know, leave 10 minutes before me, because they've been searching for a quarter of an hour at this point.
Yeah. The only thing that Percy treasures more than having sexual intercourse is not being in trouble and following rules. So you know that he's going to be the person who overthinks everything.
So Percy is for sure just coming out from making out and or... What was the term we used?
Sexual intercourse.
Sexual intercourse. I heard fornication. That's what came to mind. I was like fornication. I think he would say
coitus.
Yeah, coitus. All these terms.
Do you have coitus? What's the proper verbiage there?
I think you have coitus.
We coited.
It's have coitus.
Or like we're in the act of coitus.
Yeah. You can be mid-coitus.
Yes.
Or pre-coitus or post-coitus.
Post-coital bliss.
Yeah.
Thanks, I hate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's what he was doing for those 15 minutes, just like recovering.
It's Percy. He was crying. He broke rules. he was just crying a little bit and had a nice little... He told... That's the real thing. It wasn't actually that he was calculated enough to be like, you leave first and I'll leave second. It was... You leave, I'll clean up. And then he like kind of sunk into a corner and cried a little bit and felt bad and like really resented himself giving over to his biological functions, and then got himself together, wiped off those tears, straightened up his tie, and walked on his way.
And then almost got caught by a couple of 12-year-olds.
Yep.
Man, robes. They're not sexy. I wouldn't love ripping one off a skinny 16-year-old boy.
Do you think it's like, I don't know if you guys did this, but when I was in like middle school and high school, I would like roll my gym shorts up. You roll your sweatpants up, so it's a little more form-fitting. You never did that? It was a big thing in middle school.
I'm just wondering how this relates to the robe situation.
Because I'm wondering if there were some alterations going on where they were...
You could the robe could open and you're like...
Yeah, you got a side slit, or you got it, ruched, whatever the word is.
It's also over break right now, so they're probably not... do we know for sure they're wearing robes?
Oh, they're probably not wearing robes. You're right about that.
I don't know, because they literally just got robes from the laundry.
Well, and it's... No, we're talking about Percy and Penelope right now, but also it's Christmas, so they might be wearing robes.
That's true.
Probably Percy... Wait a goddamn second. Percy
definitely always wears his robes because
Percy,
that guy.
Percy is wearing his brand new knitted Weasley
sweater.
And that is what Penelope Clearwater ripped off of him in the spare room.
Can we also all agree that Percy is the type who would have, even though they don't provide this, Percy would have a specially made prefect symbol tie clip? Like, he would be the type to have a tie pin to put on the tie.
With a fancy P on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Honestly, I'm happy for Percy.
No, if anyone ever needed to get laid, have sexual intercourse, engage in the act of coitus.
I hate it. So they're like talking to Percy because Ron, like, snap reaction was like, what are you doing here? And then they kind of got into it, and Draco comes to save them, which is a little bit of a weird dynamic, and is like, what are you guys doing here, you fucking fat asses? You've been in the fucking Great Hall for 1,000 years. I'm your skinny boss who's smarter and better than you. So then they leave, and Draco is like, I noticed Percy, well, he says Peter, sneaking around. He's probably trying to catch the heir of Slytherin on his own. I do feel like there's evidence to these characters that Percy's making out right now, or do you think that this is like a Harry super oblivious thing?
Definitely a Harry super oblivious thing.
See, I don't think he's super oblivious. I think Percy, you would never connect the two. Like, you would never think, like, you know what Percy's doing right now? He is having sexual intercourse. No, it just would never come up.
So they go to the Slytherin common room. The password is, as we mentioned before, pure blood.
Ugh.
Really creative.
The new password, too.
Yeah. So what was
the old one
before? Yeah, just like, fuck.
Probably
Mudblood. Yeah.
Let's move on. Let's move on. I have a lot of opinions about the Slytherin common room because this is the only description that we get, I think.
Tell us.
In the whole series, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a scant description.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get a lot of detail.
Yeah.
So imagine Lux, lit kind of like a fancy aquarium, where it's that kind of like eerie,
mood lighting,
greenish, flicked, shimmering light. I do imagine, like, I don't know what it's called. It's not an atrium, but like those big domed, like you see them at like an aviary sometimes. Have you guys ever seen those? It's like a huge glass
dome, yeah.
But it's underwater because it's like under the, it's under the lake. That's what I imagine. And lots of like leather chairs, lots of ornately carved, like mantle pieces and chair legs are all elaborately carved, but that's
maybe some like not like I want every common room to have plants, but this one maybe would have like some like moss or something.
Yeah, or like ivy, something trailing. Yeah, something
just like creepy and subtle. Maybe a little like wandering dude in the corners.
Mm-hmm. That is my vision.
I'm imagining like black metal tables with glass tops to the metal tables.
It's all glass and steel and leather. That's
very
like
modern lines.
Industrial.
Yes.
AKA, I hate it.
But also
great
Lux.
for other people. See, this is why Sean and I have a hard time decorating our house, because he's a Slytherin, and that is his taste that you just described, but I'm a Hufflepuff, and I want to live in a tree house. And it's, like, hard to meet in the middle.
If I could afford that aesthetic, that would be my aesthetic. But if you do it cheaply, it just doesn't work. So, until I have the money, I will work with what I've got, which is the thrift store.
I can't sit on leather furniture because I have massive thighs and they sploosh really hard.
Yeah, and the sticky.
Yeah, it's just not good for anyone. Anyway, Malfoy's like, wait here, I have something hilarious to tell you or show you. And he goes to his dormitory, I guess, and Ron/Goyle and Ron/Crabbe and Harry/Goyle are in the Slytherin common room like, can you believe this? We did it. We actually did it. The stomachache.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Yeah. Luckily for these two fucking idiots, all Crabbe and Goyle do is like grunt and laugh 5 full seconds after a joke is made. So like they're crushing it. So Malfoy comes back and he's like, LOL, read this. And it's a newspaper article talking about how Mr. Weasley went under an inquiry at work and he had to pay a 50 galleon fine for enchanting his Ford Anglia. And LOL, basically. And Mr. Malfoy is calling for Arthur Weasley's resignation. And in some, Molly Weasley told the reporters to fuck off, for sure.
Yeah. Lucius McConnell is calling for Arthur Weasley to resign.
Yeah, I was going to say, if Lucius was an American, he would be a Republican senator.
I want to make it really clear that I would fuck Lucius Malfoy and I would not fuck Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Draco has any conviction behind these things that he spouts off. I think he's just an edgelord, honestly.
Very
and
much
he's
so.
just like trying to get a reaction.
My next note is, quote, Malfoy kind of monologues. He's doing like the evil villain monologue, but he has like no plot to back it. He's just like, I would be so evil if I could be.
Yeah. And there's like not really much behind it other than him just being like, just cuz, dude, what are you gonna do about it? I'm just a kind of a racist rich dick.
He's trying to be this thing that he just like can't be. He's whatever. So then he gets off on this rant about how Colin Creevey worships Harry Potter, and I think he's obsessed because he worships Harry Potter. And he's like, Colin Creevey looks so stupid, but then in his heart he's like, I feel so stupid.
That's my man.
Can I lick your shoes, please, Potter? But can I lick your shoes, please, Potter? Can I?
Can I lick your boots, Potter?
Literally. Just while we're talking about the bootlicking, like I've read my fair share of Harry Potter erotic fan fiction in my life, and whenever Draco is like the dom, it just feels like so. It just feels wrong.
He's an otter.
Yeah, like when Harry, Harry's the dom. Like there's no getting around that in this.
I think they're both first.
It's just like, I think it's because of their backstory where I'm like, Harry has to be in charge of this. Just like when we talk about Hermione hate fucking Malfoy, it's like, she just has to be the boss of that. Anyone who's fucking Malfoy has to be the boss of it, or else he's getting something he doesn't deserve.
That's why I think there's a back and forth. There's a struggle, a power struggle.
Like it's spicy.
The eternal struggle of Rava.
A lot of pin downs.
The eternal struggle of Rava versus Batu in the light versus dark. I've been watching the Legend of Korra lately. My destiny is to fight this guy forever. So then they're talking about the heir of Slytherin, and Malfoy's like, I wish I knew who it is. I could help them. And Harry and Ron are like, certainly you must know who it is. Luckily, they're idiots pretending to be idiots right now. So Malfoy's like, I've literally told you this. I don't know who the heir of Slytherin is. He really doesn't know. It becomes evident. And
I was going to say, we did skip over one of the greatest scenes from the movies that is not in the book, unfortunately, where Harry as Harry as Goyle says something about like, I read about it, and Malfoy's response is, I didn't know you could read.
Was that ad-libbed?
It was an improv line from Tom Felton.
Nice.
And I think those kind of lines have more of a place in films than in books anyway. You know what I mean? It's like, it was like Tom Felton's delivery of that line. I think that made it so clutch. And I guess it was because it was ad-libbed. So then Malfoy in his rant is like, the last time the chamber was open, we learn that like someone died. And the last person who opened the chamber was caught and is still probably in Azkaban, I guess, as far as Malfoy knows. And Harry's like, what the fuck's Azkaban? And the good thing Goyle's dumb, because Malfoy's like, what? Obviously.
It's a surprise tool that we'll use later.
Obviously, you're a pureblood. Why don't you know this?
Well, and this also answers the question that, obviously, from this, as stupid as it sounds, the other students did not know who was blamed for opening the chamber earlier, because there's no way that Lucius Malfoy would not have told Draco straight up that it was Hagrid.
That's true.
There's like zero way that did not happen. But it also doesn't make sense that you wouldn't notice that one student died and then another student was expelled at the same time.
Well, Lucius does find out at some point because he turns up at Hagrid's house when Hagrid is being arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But, like, he probably didn't know until he, like, joined the Board of Governors.
Speaking of turning up at people's houses, Malfoy also lets on that his family manor was raided. And he's like, don't even worry about it. My dad keeps all his bad shit in a secret chamber under the drawing room floor. And Ron's like, what? And Malfoy's like, what? And then Harry's like, what? And Harry looks at Ron, and Ron's turning back into Ron, and then Ron looks at Harry, and Harry's turning back into Harry. So they're like, my tummy hurts! And then they run.
And don't worry, this room's never going to come up again in the series, so we can just go ahead and forget about it now.
What? The common room?
No, isn't that the room that they lock, like Ollivander and Dobby?
Oh, that room.
Oh, damn.
I thought you were talking about the... Yeah, I mean, I guess so, honestly. Even though I've never made that connection before, it makes sense. Why would you have 2 secret chambers?
Yeah, I just made the connection this time reading it, but I wanted to go ahead and get it out there.
Well
I'm pretty
done.
sure that's
a good
room.
one.
Yeah, well done. So, like Cinderella, they're running through the hall and everything's falling apart. The facade is fading. And they are slipping out of the shoes. They leave the shoes at the cupboard where Crabbe and Goyle are sleeping so they can have them when they wake up. And they race back up to the bathroom and they're like, Hermione, we're back. But Hermione is still a cat. Moaning Myrtle is ecstatic. She's like, wait till you see Hermione. And, I mean, honestly, Hermione's been a cat this whole time. Like, she's probably been in there just, like, silently weeping because she was afraid to loudly weep, even though she wanted to weep.
With Myrtle floating there laughing at her.
Yeah. And also, every time you clutch your own face, it's furry. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm crying, I'd be like, grabs face dramatically, and then it would be furry, and it would just... Poor Hermione. We know she has the ability to get in her feels. And this probably she sees as like a great personal screw up. Even though from our perspective of the boys' experience, it went great, you know?
See, I think they went with a much more like furry type approach in the movies, but I think it was more grotesque than that. Like she still had like, she was mostly hairy or mostly like skin, but she had like just a bunch of random, like, werewolf-style cat hair all over her, and, like, she still had some human features, but she was also, like, because, like, it wouldn't be as smooth as, like, a human Polyjuice potion. It would be weird because you're, like, interspecies.
Do you think she exited the stall to look at herself in the mirror while the boys were gone?
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, who else is in there? Moaning Myrtle? She already sees you.
I mean,
just go take a look.
Would you be afraid? Would you be afraid to look?
For science's sake, you have to look.
I'd look.
Just to know.
I've got a question for you cat owners, because I do not have a cat and I've never owned a cat. Is it weird that after being at Hogwarts for multiple months and having your robes washed multiple times that there would still be cat hair on the uniform?
No,
like, I honestly just don't know.
She has her cat with her. I'm assuming.
It's gross, but not impossible.
It gets everywhere. Like, I've had dogs and similar situation. Like, it's...
But couldn't her cat, like, just be living at Hogwarts?
Honestly, that never occurred to me, but I like that. I mean,
they're allowed to have a cat.
What does Hagrid says something about, like, he doesn't get a cat for Harry because he doesn't like cats? Or
I think he's allergic to cats. You'd be laughed at for having a toad. So owls are the way to go.
Yeah. Okay.
And rats aren't on the list.
Rats aren't on the list, but like Ron does what he wants.
Yeah. Okay, so twas cat hair. You're not supposed to use Polyjuice potion for pet transformation. Animal. I'll get to the right word eventually. You're not supposed to use Polyjuice potion for animal transformations. And Ron and Harry are like, oh, you definitely need to grow it up. For the first time in their lives, are like, we need a grown up. It takes a long time to convince her to leave the bathroom to go to the hospital wing. Do you really think Madame Pomfrey wouldn't tell anyone?
I think that, like, the fact that Madame Pomfrey is the one adult that they implicitly trust throughout this whole series, like, with all of their problems. Like, they never tell her what happened, but they always go to her because they can trust that she is going to mind her damn business.
Yeah, I wonder if she just, like, doesn't even want to get involved in any of these situations.
Yeah, no, she has taken, I think, an oath of non-involvement. Like, I think the wizard Hippocratic oath is just like, don't ask, don't tell.
I would imagine that Dumbledore, for all of his faults, I do see him being the type who would have a very candid conversation with her about, like, These students need to be able to feel like they can come to you with anything.
And I mean anything.
So it's not
anything.
It's not your
Magical herpes.
Yeah, magical fucking herpes. That's what Percy's getting with his sexual intercourse.
Percy, baby. It's like I don't hate him yet. He's very annoying, but like he hasn't betrayed me, so I'm just like, sweet baby. I hope Penelope is nice to you. I hope you are having a good time exploring each other's bodies. It's just so sweet to be so young and not have any idea what sex is, and it's all so exciting. I remember the days. Anyway, we got to the end of the chapter.
Yay!
That's the end. Does anyone have any final thoughts or anything we didn't cover?
I really enjoyed the chapter. It felt very good. The pacing was right. It was like the right amount of. It feels like a lot of the chapters recently have had way too much shit crammed into them, and have been kind of like bouncing around multiple subjects. This one felt really like focused, and I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree with you that the pacing in this one felt better than the last couple ones, for sure. I honestly, when I always look to see how many pages the chapter is before I start reading, because I'm almost always running late. I read books for a living. Don't at me. But I was like, oh, this one's pretty short. Like, how can they do this whole thing in like 11 pages or whatever? I'm reading the Illustrated Bloomsbury edition, so the pages are a little bit bigger, but yeah, the pacing's great. You guys like this chapter?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I love any Christmas Hogwarts description.
It's funny that you bring up Christmas. I agree with you that Christmas at Hogwarts is a total move, but I just feel like this book in particular, we mentioned earlier how they go through the Christmas scene so fast.
Yeah.
And I feel like this entire book has a very spooky Halloween vibe, like the whole time. And so I'm really glad that we're kind of culminating it right now as we're like building towards Halloween. But yeah, it's like kind of a spooky Christmas. There's snakes about.
Spooky. Subterfuge. Mystery. Espionage.
Other words as well.
Espionage.
Other words.
Espionage is such a generous term for what Ron and Harry did in this chapter.
It's clumsy. It's what you would expect from a preteen.
All right, well, let's move on to our plugs. Andrew, do you want to start?
I would love to. I'm going to plug another podcast. Whitney Cummings is an amazing stand-up comedian, hysterically funny, very outspoken supporter of the LGBTQ plus community. And she has started a podcast called Good For You. It started, I want to say either very late last year or very early this year. And it is absolutely phenomenal. She has a ton of incredibly famous celebrity friends that have come on. I think the episode that dropped today had Hilary Duff on it, which was interesting. I didn't see that coming.
I love her.
And I do too, for very different reasons. But
maybe not though.
Maybe not. But it's an awesome podcast. It's very, very funny. I think it's going to end up being kind of like the female Joe Rogan, because I feel like Joe Rogan's podcast really hits with, guys between the ages of 25 and 35. And I think this is going to be like the female equivalent of that. And her co-host / assistant Benton is absolutely just a delight. So I highly encourage everyone to go look up Good For You and find an episode with someone that you like as the guest and just dive right in. It's very enjoyable.
Hell yeah. Thank you for your plug. Haley, your turn.
I am going to plug Chris Fleming's Showpig. Chris Fleming, if you don't know off the top of your head, he does like the Gale videos. If you've seen that one video of the dude dressed up like his mom and imitating the way that she cleans the house when company comes over, that's him. He's fucking hilarious. And Showpig is his first filmed comedy special. The whole thing's on YouTube. There's a bit at the end that almost killed me the other day because I was laughing so hard I literally couldn't breathe. It's just
Haley, take care of yourself.
he is the most awkward person on the face of the earth, and I say that as someone who has often felt like the most awkward person on the face of the earth. Like, he makes me feel less alone. So if you've ever been in a moment where you felt like a deer in the proverbial headlights of existence, this might be the comedy special for you.
Oh my god. What a plug. Do you possibly have a recently reanimated Twitter account?
Oh, you can, if you really want to, and please God don't, you can find me on Twitter at @TheWrit2Wit. I'm not happy about it, but I'm there.
And I just want to make it really clear that all of her tweets carry that exact same tone.
Yes, they do. I'm very on brand at all times.
Courtney, how about you?
I have been, the only thing clunking around my head the last couple weeks is The Vow, which is a documentary series on HBO about the Nexium cult that was
fucking
if
crazy.
you guys have heard about that, Allison Mack was in that.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's that Superman show, and she was like a member of this. It was basically, what's interesting about it is it's a sex cult that is marketed as a like women's empowerment cult. And like my biggest takeaway from, I mean, I guess we're almost through, and I followed this when it came out. Their whole cult was like about how you should embrace things that make you uncomfortable and things that you are repulsed by or like repelled from. And if you listen to your instincts, you are like a repressive person. And like they branded it and basically turned it into like Scientology light, but it was just a plain old sex cult at the end. And if you see this guy, he is a human spider, like repulsive. It's a fucked up documentary series, and I highly recommend it. That's my depressing plug. Everyone should watch it.
I've been your host, Christina. You can follow me on Instagram at Your Girl of the World. You can follow me on Twitter at Tina Fontina. And this week, I'm going to plug another podcast. It's a new podcast called Cats, Tea, and Witchcraft. That's Cats, Tea, and Witchcraft. I know the host, Fauna. She's very cool. And it's basically just like an introduction to like the general objective lore of like and history of witchcraft. And like, just like, it's really just like informative, and it explains a lot of things without trying to like get you to believe anything. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just like a witchcraft 101, and with like a focus on like the host practices like Wicca. So that's what a lot of it's about, but it definitely explores other stuff too. I'm looking forward to her exploring the cats and the tea aspects of this further as well, because I'm also interested in those things. But you can find that wherever you get your podcasts. I highly recommend it. And the host, Fauna, is going to be on our podcast for a chapter of Prisoner of Azkaban. The one where they read tea leaves, and it's going to be perfect. So that's nice. My plug.
Yay.
All right. It's the end of the podcast. Courtney, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I hope you had a good time.
Yes. Thank you for having me. It's great chatting with y'all.
Hell yeah.
It's down to discuss some HP.
Exactly. Honestly, it like brings people together. It's good to have a safe space like this to just get into such excruciating detail.
Yeah.
That bitch did one thing, right?
What was that one thing?
Creating the Harry Potter universe.
I tweeted at her today and I was like, thank you for your service. Now, can you please just fade away to obscurity?
Like, just take your money, go buy a fucking farm in Italy, and just leave everyone the fuck alone.
She's like truly dead to me. Like, as far as I am concerned, J.K. Rowling,
she's like, tarnishing.
Died. She died like 10 years ago. It's like I have mourned and I've moved on.
Yeah.
She was my friend.
I'm always wary of supporting anyone who's like still alive, because people can always change their fucking viewpoints halfway through their life. Like, I love Kanye West, but if I got a fucking Kanye West tattoo, I would be answering a lot of questions right now, I think. You know?
Imagine being someone who has a Kanye West tattoo.
You gotta wait until people are dead, and then you see their entire category, and you say, you know what, this person is worthy of saying it.
Yeah, weigh the pros against the cons.
I think what Courtney is saying is go out, listeners, and get a nice RBG, get an RBG tattoo and tweet it to us.
All right, guys, I'm trying to lead us triumphantly out of this episode, and you're making it hard.
Sorry.
Say, end with a good thing. Say like one good thing.
Whoa!
Nothing. There's nothing.
Numbers are down in Virginia, trending over the last 14 days.
Oh,
that's positive.
Fauci absolutely handed Rand Paul his ass earlier today. So if you haven't seen that, look it up. He basically
Rand Paul got beat up by his neighbor also, which is
yes, that's a good thing.
Have you guys seen that video that's looping Mitch McConnell tripping over a stage and his wife like taking a couple of minutes to consider helping him up?
Okay,
oh my god!
All of these things will be in the show notes for your pleasure.
Good.
All right, guys, get the fuck out of my comment room.
No.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
The Restricted section was created and hosted by me, Christina Kahn, based on the book series by J.K. Rowling. All music by Ryan Kahn. Logo by Michael Hardison. Technical support from Sean Watson. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at RestrictedSectionPod or shoot us an email at restrictedsectionpod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts, feelings, complaints, conspiracy theories, or lavish praise.
I think Hufflepuffs and Slytherins get along together because I'm a Hufflepuff and my husband's a total Slytherin.
Yeah, you gotta have a dom sub type relationship.
Or well, I call it dog cat.
That works too.
Wait, who's the dom and who's the sub in that?
In my relationship, come on.
Well, in like, so you're implying that the Slytherin would be the dom in that relationship?
Yeah, I would say so. Over a Hufflepuff. No.
I can see a Hufflepuff as like a service top.
Okay.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
It just sounds funny.
Well, you need to spend more time on the internet, Andrew. I don't know what to tell you.
Read more Harry Potter erotic fan fiction.
Yeah.
I
did
read
you
one
almost,
good.
Christina? Did you almost say erotic friend fiction?
I did. I was wondering if you would catch that. That's so funny. That's a total Bob's Burgers reference. Side note, just in case anyone gives a shit, Bob's Burgers got renewed today for a 12th and 13th season. I'm so fucking excited.